Shalom. Our Torah portion this week is Beshalach. It's in this portion that our ancestors finally, after all of the signs and wonders, after those 10 plagues, after all of those conversations that transpired between Moses and Pharaoh, are finally leaving Eretz Mitzrayim. They're finally getting out of Egypt and they're going to Eretz Canaan, to the land of Canaan. Now, on the eve of their going out of Egypt, Moses remembers an oath taken by the Jewish people to Joseph centuries before to take his bones, literally his bones or his remains, with them to the land of Canaan. He did not want his remains to stay in Egypt. He wanted to be buried eventually in Eretz Yisrael. Now, in Jewish law, we are told that we are not to disinter human remains. Generally, we're not supposed to. But there's one exception to that rule, and that is if there is an opportunity to remove Jewish remains and to bury them in the land of Israel. Now, let's take a look at the Hebrew in Beshalach that deals with this episode. Vayikach Moshe et atzmot Yosef imo, ki hashpia et bnei Yisrael lemor, pakod yifkod Elohim etchem, v'ha'alitem et atzmotai mize yitchem. And Moses took with him the bones of Joseph, who had exacted an oath from the children of Israel, saying, God will be sure to take notice of you, then you shall carry up my bones from here with you. Now, Hebrew in the Torah is written without vowels, and it's given to all sorts of interpretations. Simply by changing slightly a vowel in the Hebrew, we can come up with a whole different meaning. Let me show you what I mean. Now, the word for bones in Hebrew is ayin, tzadi, mem, vav, tav, atzmot. And atzmot is translated as bones. Notice the vav here. The vav, which can be a vowel or a consonant. When we treat it as a vowel, it sometimes has the dot over it, on top of it. You can't tell in the Torah because there are no vowels in the Torah. Usually we pronounce this word in the Torah as atzmot, bones. But notice down here, when we take the little dot over the vav and we put it on its side, it's pronounced atzmut. Goes from atzmot to atzmut. Atzmut means essence. So, what were they carrying? What aspect of Joseph were our ancestors carrying with them when they left Egypt for the promised land? Well, I do believe they were taking the physical remains of Joseph, but they were taking something much more important than that. They were taking his essence. Joseph was an honest man, a righteous man, a moral man. He was a man who was not perfect. We saw in the early part of his life he was rather arrogant, but he was a man capable of spiritual growth. He grew to be a man in his mature years who served God, who served his people, a man who looked after his own family. That was his essence. And so it is when someone that we love dies. What do we take along with us? We give them a proper burial, of course, but what we take with us is their essence, their values, the memories we have of them when they lived their lives with high moral and ethical standards. Well, I hope that you will read this week's Torah portion and come to your own conclusions. Shabbat Shalom.